Many people will tell you that a great day starts with a great morning routine. And there's no shortage of videos showing the perfect morning routine. You can find lots of those out on YouTube. But some of my clients have told me that they've watched many of these and they've tried to incorporate them and copy them, but they just can't seem to make it work for themselves. They end up feeling discouraged and wondering, why they can't get it to work for them. If I think about it, the truth of the matter is that the perfect morning routine, it really looks different for everyone. So if you've been struggling with that, don't be discouraged. Let's see today if we can find some things that can work for you. Not a full morning routine, but rather we'll talk about some concepts that may give you some building blocks and things that you can consider to add to your morning routine. One thing that I think about that we likely all have in common is that when you wake up and you're feeling rushed and you're already kind of like pushing yourself to hurry up and get things going before you even get your breakfast or before you even get out the door, it's just not a great way to start the day. I am a really big believer in morning activities that feel peaceful and that have a focus on setting your day up to be intentional with your time and with your energy as well. And that's after many years of that rushing out the door in the morning. So sometimes it feels like the only time that you can really find a moment of stillness is before you get into your day. So if you're smart, you will go ahead and try to get some of this time to yourself while you can. For me, I absolutely love just sitting outside and sipping on something hot and kind of watching nature wake up too. It's probably one of my favorite things to do in the morning. And I find it calming, and it really, for me, reinforces a pace that then helps me get through my day without hurrying and rushing. When you don't create enough space for yourself in the morning to have time to just sit and think, you really aren't able to easily move toward what you really want in your life. After years of just rolling out of bed and going straight to work and then coming home and doing it all again every day, I found it's just really not a good recipe for a happy, healthy life. I've been there and done that. And I found that I really need time to dream about what I want in the future and to focus some attention on my personal goals, because otherwise I just don't take any action to make them happen. And it seems that that's because automatically, if you don't have a plan for your goals, everything else in life just eats up your time. So my dreaming and personal pursuits planning takes place in my journal. That's really where I house all my daily reminders of how I'm going to accomplish my goals and make things happen in my life. And before I actually did this every day, I really didn't have any forward progress on what I was trying to create in my life. I've also found that mornings are a really great time to strengthen what I believe in. I've come to believe that our beliefs have just the huge impact on our ability to create what we want in life. So the very last thing you want is to get dragged down by default negativity, which happens a lot. I think it's really wise to figure out what beliefs you have that are holding them back and then replace those with new beliefs. And a good way to do this is through repetition. So that's the other thing that I put in my journal. It's up in the front pages so that, I go through my front pages first thing every time when I'm journaling. And I have a list of the beliefs that I'm trying to really work on right now in there as well. So I'll give you an example of a belief that I'm working on in here. I went through some big health challenges last year, and one of the things that I was dealing with was I had been diagnosed with something called Mycobacterium avium complex, and it's in my lungs, and I was told that to get rid of it, because it was destroying my lungs, to get rid of it though was going to require 12 to 18 months of being on antibiotics. Definitely not something that I wanted to do, because it just destroy your gut. So I was lucky in a way, I guess, but when I had a colon cancer tumor removed, I think that the antibiotics that they gave me then back in December may have either gotten rid of it or at least knocked it back enough to go dormant, as I haven't been coughing every day like I used to. However, the doctor did tell me that it would likely come back, and this particular bacteria, it's in the soil everywhere and it's in the water supply. Most people just don't have any problem dealing with it, and for some reason I'm one of the ones that do. So a belief that I'm working on to strengthen healing from this, or not getting it again, is that my body heals itself. It's something that I work on every day. I say it silently to myself each time that I use my journal. If you would like a guide, if this is something you want to work on, your limiting beliefs, if you would like a guide, I did put something together to help walk through step by step how to identify your limiting beliefs and then how to work through getting rid of them. So if you're interested in that, there is a link in the description that you can find that and download that. So another thing I like to do in the morning is just to get some kind of inspiration. I'll read a quote from this gratitude book, or if I have time, I'll read a chapter of some kind in some kind of self-improvement book. So right now I am reading this, Essentialism, the Disciplined Pursuit of Less. And as you can see, I've already got quite a few little bookmarks in here of pages that I want to share either here with you or in my Art of Intentional Living community. So sometimes I will also get some morning inspiration by listening to a podcast, either while I'm on my morning walk or perhaps while I'm working out. I think it feels like if you spend at least a few minutes towards self-improvement every day as a part of your morning routine, it really does feel amazing about how much that can add up over time. I know that it's helped me feel so much better about myself over the years, and it's really empowered me and motivated me to be able to do the things that I've wanted to do and try the things that I've wanted to try for myself. So another thing, when you think about what you want to do in the morning, I think something worth considering is how much of your day is already taken up with time in front of a screen. And if you think about it, when you're looking at your phone, for instance, most of the time it's really not a moment of enjoyment. Myself, I really try to avoid looking at the news or email on my phone, or actually even on my laptop, first thing in the morning. I really tell myself these things can wait. And in addition, most of the requests in those emails, they can wait too. I really think it's time to take back our time from these devices. If you don't manage the time of when you're using your email box, it'll manage it for you. So then the other thing for mornings for me, I found that they're the best time for moving my body. I found that if I start my day with some kind of movement, I just feel better about myself and am more motivated to do things. When I take a quick 20-minute walk first thing in the morning, it's kind of like a jump start to being more motivated for everything else that I'm going to do in my day. I think that's probably likely because you do get a boost of serotonin when you go for a walk. It also is really great for helping to regulate your sleep, but it really works well for me. And for years, I had struggled to take this walk first thing in the morning, even though I really wanted to. And I think it was because I just had to find the best time to do it for me, which I found, for me at least, is right at sunrise. If I wait until later in the morning to take a walk, I really have a tendency to then start to think, well, I don't have time to do this today. And so I start to try and talk myself out of doing it. And if I'm successful in talking myself out of it, then more than likely I'll start talking myself out of other self-care practices that I like to put into my morning routine as well. But if taking a walk, if that's not your thing, that's totally fine. You could wake your body up in other ways, maybe with a few minutes of stretching or some gentle yoga. I actually like to do stretching and yoga in the morning too, as well as like a workout. But at the same time, I do recognize that I'm really privileged to be able to have this much time in my morning. But the point is some kind of morning movement will really make you feel better all day long. So you got to figure out what works best for you. And then when you're setting up what your priorities for your day are going to be, it's another great thing to do in the morning too. One thing that I found that's really helpful though is to limit the number of priorities that you give yourself for the day. There was a time where I once had this running list of to do tasks that I wanted, and it was like over 100 things long. And at the time I thought that, I was kind of impressed with myself having so much to do and, such a full life. Looking back on it now, I feel like that was just a recipe for overwhelm. And I think it's a lot better to really focus on just a few things at a time, especially like in terms of what you're going to do over the course of a day. And that will leave space for you to have time for the things that really matter in your life, whether it's taking care of yourself or spending time with loved ones. I know that it can be really hard to limit yourself to just 3 priorities for your day, but when you start making yourself choose, you are choosing what you do in your life with more intention. And when you do that, your whole life is going to be more fulfilling. So let's also talk about waking up. When I was in high school, and college too, I used to have one of those alarm clocks that had the bell on each side and a hammer that slapped between the two of them because I needed something really loud to wake me up and get myself out of bed and get going for the day. And that was back in a time where I didn't recognize how important sleep was to you. And I was going to bed way too late, and it's no wonder, I was probably sleep deprived the whole time, so no wonder I needed a loud alarm clock. I don't do that anymore. These days, I do like to wake up to kind of like some type of gentle sound. I use my phone to do that, but I use a gentle ringtone. One of these days, I wouldn't mind checking out one of those sunrise alarm clocks that wakes you up with a light. If you have one of those, let me know in the comments whether you like it or not. The other thing I wouldn't mind doing too is splurging on my shades and have one of the ones that go up automatically at a certain time of the morning. But regardless of how you wake up, it is, I think, nice to give yourself just a few minutes to stretch in bed, take a few nice deep breaths before you just jump and rush out. Maybe you actually take a moment to say an affirmation to get yourself in that positive space, or give yourself some love, give yourself a hug. I think that the key to all these suggestions that I am sharing with you today is I'm encouraging you to start your day slowly, to be present, thoughtful, and intentional. And if you're able to do this, you are going to step into your day feeling centered rather than rushed and stressed. I've been on both sides of that, and so definitely encourage you to give this a try. Hope you've enjoyed this today. Love to know if there's anything else that I should have talked about in this video that you think about or that you do in your own morning routines that would be helpful to share here. And if you know of anybody else that might benefit from some of these suggestions, I hope you'll take a few moments to send a link to this video to them. And I just want to thank you for watching today. Thank you for being here, and I wish you to have a lovely, wonderful rest of your day.